now for something a little bit different, and we're taking a look at, for the first time this year, because it's been a strange kind of year, at the world of hurling. And I'm joined by the hurling officer in Cluainin Iomaint, which is the club in Hamilton. It's part of Glencar Manor, but it's definitely under that Cluainin Iomaint brand. Micheál Dolan, you're welcome to the programme.
Thank you very much, Breffley.
So first of all, let's narrow down what exactly you are in the hurling club in Hamilton. You're a player, but you're also kind of selector, kind of dog's body, everything to do with hurling is your responsibility.
Yeah, fill water bottles, motivate players, try and make sure they're at training, promoting of hurling, or all things GA. That's kind of my role.
How hard is it to get them to training in the current climate, or has it been easier because more people are around?
Well, during the lockdown, most of our communication was via WhatsApp, and myself and a few lads threw in a few challenges to get lads keeping the stick in their hand, and I know the Carrick lads were doing the same for the county, so we said we'd try and keep the club going. As soon as the lockdown was over, we had our first couple of training sessions in Strandhill, and we had massive numbers. I think everybody was just so eager and relieved to get back after the lockdown, and we trained on the beach there for a couple of Saturdays, and it was everybody was buzzing to be back. But everything was grand. We've been back training, and we've struggled for numbers this year. We've had a lot of emigrating lads who've gone overseas, a few lads in England, but just haven't had the opportunity to come home due to the restrictions.
In terms of the game, obviously last year I was at the hurling final, and you ran Carrick fairly close. Extra time it took to separate you, although they were fairly comfortable in the end. In terms of this year's final, what's the expectation going to be?
Again, I'd say the Carrick will know anytime Hamilton turn up to a county final, we're not there just to make up numbers. We're definitely there to challenge them. They are a formidable force, and they've kind of paved the way to show that hurling is on the map in Leitrim. What they did a few years ago to win Connacht and get to the All-Ireland semi-final, that's our goal as well. We believe there's nothing really between us and Carrick. On paper maybe, but we always kind of have a good heart about us and a good core number of lads who love hurling, and we've had a good few lads who run the county this year. We definitely feel we left it behind us last year. We should have done the job in full during normal time. Extra time, yeah, Carrick's fitness did show through. We left it behind, but I think this year we've lads motivated, and fingers crossed, a little bit of lady luck, we get the scores when needed.
A couple of your lads obviously involved with the footballers as well, one or two lads. Will the semi-final defeat to Carrick kind of be right from their mind, and or is it totally separate?
No, definitely not. Lads know each other so well in a small county. Everybody plays football and hurling, and definitely that'll be a motivating factor for a couple of our lads. James Rooney, Peter Ponyard, Gavin O'Hagan, Fergal Rooney all play hurling. I'd say if you went back into that Glencar Manor team that played Carrick, most of them have played underage hurling, if not senior hurling. But today's demands, it's very hard to play everything. So,
in terms of the quality of hurling in the county at the moment, of course, I suppose 15-20 years ago you would have had a Gortletra side, you would have had a Sean Heston side. They no longer compete at senior level, at least. It's really become kind of a north and south in the shape of the two clubs. As I know, last year Colin McCran from Gortletra was the captain for Carrick, and so in terms of that rivalry, it's not really Carrick versus Hamilton, it's more North Leitrim versus South Leitrim. Does that come into it at all?
Oh, definitely. It's just a terrible shame that Ballinamore, Sean Heslin's can't field, and Gortletra the same. They were both fine sides, and anytime there's never really anything between any of the four clubs from what I can remember. Hamilton and Carrick did knuckle down and looked outside the box regarding training and motivating players and getting outside help in to prepare teams, and it was just a shame that the fella fell away for one reason or another, who knows. But it would be, ideally I'd like to see 8 clubs or 10 clubs in Leitrim, but that's just not the case. It's a football dominated county, but who knows, it might be different in the future. But yeah, Carrick have been lucky to get the stronger players of both clubs, and that probably motivates us more. We were generally all Hamilton. There's one or two lads who play football for Drumahare. which has always been the case down through the years. But it definitely motivates us more to think that we're kind of taking on this giant club, and like fair play to Carrick, they're able to keep everybody happy and keep everybody getting them game time. But it definitely motivate us in this final.
In terms of underage, now you're going to have to educate me, because to my shame I don't know much about underage hurling in the county. Is there just the two clubs underage as well, or is there any hurling anywhere else in the county?
There may be in Leitrim and Ballymore underage. The old stalwarts of Paddy O'Connor and Micheál Dolan and Leitrim definitely do a little bit with underage. I do know that Carrick are involved in Roscommon leagues, and ourselves, Manor Hamilton, we were always involved in Sligo leagues, just because geographically it just suits us better. But from my knowledge, competitively, Manor Hamilton have teams up to under 14, under 15, and we're hoping to see the fruits of those teams come through in a few years. Fellas like myself are still hanging on to play, and the sooner those young lads come through to replace the older lads, the better.
What steps could be taken by officialdom? And I'm not going to throw I pick one or two people, but in terms of the county board, the hurling board, what do you feel would be two or three maybe positive steps towards getting to a situation where we get closer to that 8 or 10 or 12 teams taking part?
I definitely think when you look to our neighbours in Sligo, like they have 6 senior clubs playing competitively. They have up to 10 underage teams playing now. Whatever incentive they've brought, I definitely think Leitrim should definitely follow to encourage more clubs to come on board and promote hurling. I definitely think if Dublin can have dual players all the way up, and if both football and hurling teams have players who can play both codes, I can't see why Leitrim can't do that as well. Obviously there will have to be some sort of an incentive to try and get clubs on board. I know that we have Dara Cox is the Leitrim Sligo development officer now and coach, so I know he's got good ideas, and Aidan Fogarty, a Kilkenny man, has great ideas to promote hurling better in the weaker counties. But if we could possibly maybe copy the way Sligo are going, it's become very popular, and I can't see why we can't do that as well.
Let's turn our attention to Saturday's game, because it is really the only game of hurling that's played at adult level in the county that's just for Leitrim teams. I know you play in the Sligo leagues and Carrick playing in the Roscommon leagues and other competitions, but it's the bragging rights. It's what you aim the whole season around. How hard is it to get a team up for that?
It's not hard at all. I'd say the Carrick lads have the same motivation. We play in different leagues throughout the year, alright, and we would meet Carrick along the way, and we'd always try and motivate ourselves like we have to beat Carrick, because that'll be on their mind come the championship day, or Carrick will probably say the same about beating us. But look at that. It's the Leitrim Observer publicised it so well. He's on the GA live on Facebook and on the various means, and the main thing is this rivalry between Carrick Hurling and Cluainin Iomaint. It be ferocious, but at the end of the day we know each other so well. We're friends off the pitch, but on the pitch you wouldn't think so. But it will be every year. It's been tight for the last number of years, and I'm hoping that it'll be tight on Saturday as well.
To the uninitiated, people who might never have been to a hurling game, and there's plenty of them in the county, who are the players that Manor Hamilton and Cluainin Iomaint will be looking towards to really lift them across the line on Saturday afternoon?
I suppose we had I introduced hurling in primary school when I started in St. Clair's and Manor Hamilton, and those lads have come through now and they've become fine hurlers.
You're aging yourself now.
I am. Carl McDermott and his brother Aaron McDermott are fantastic. They're the spine of our team now, and they're both going really well with the county. Gavin O'Hagan, I believe, is the county free taker also at the club. He was fantastic in Croke Park when Leitrim won. We've Niall McLaughlin, always a steady man on the ball. The Clerkin brothers, fantastic players. Declan Ryan, another man who should have the engine of the team. And then of course we have our dual stars, James Rooney, Fergal Rooney and Peter Ponyard.
So plenty of names. Anyone on the Carrick side that you'll be kind of maybe giving a little bit of extra attention to the
There
game?
are too many, definitely too many. I'd say 1 to 15 we'll have to give extra attention to, but you
Very
can't
diplomatic.
you can't underestimate James Clancy. He's been around. He's not as old as I am now, but I've played with him down through the years at county level. He still popped up to take the victory for Leitrim and Croke Park. He's just a fantastic warrior.
He's over your shoulder.
I
there
know
as well.
he is. I spotted him. Hopefully he won't be over my shoulder come Saturday. But Carrick has so much and have such young talent coming through as well.
Well, listen, the very best of luck to you on Saturday afternoon. I know it hasn't been that long since you won a county title. I think a couple of years since your last one. Nearly did it last year. It'll be interesting to see how you get on Saturday. So the very best of luck to you
Thank you.
in the county final on Saturday afternoon in Pairc Sean MacDiarmada.
Thank you very much.